had a secret fling while studying abroad. He made sure I regretted it. I don't know what I am doing writing about my failures in life and relationships. I guess I am just trying to process things as I write them. This might help me to get over the fact that I messed up, and now it is high time that I own my shit. It is not easy, but this can help me see where I messed up and get perspective from other people on what was so wrong about what I did. I did what every other foreign student does abroad to survive. It was not an action that was so out of the world to have led to such a big reaction. Hey guys, my name is Maria, 27, and I'm single right now. The last time I checked, I was in a serious relationship with my boyfriend, who I am not going to name after what he had done to me. I mean, I get that I was the one who broke his heart, but what he did to me was beyond my imagination. We both grew up in a small town where we knew everyone. I always had high expectations and wanted to do great things with my life. I liked the fact that our small town was comforting, as I could just walk up to anyone and start a conversation. Sometimes it felt as if I was being deeply judged for my actions, and everyone made their own perceptions about others the way you interacted with them. As I grew up, I was getting tired of people pushing you into things that you were not really interested in. For example, I liked my boyfriend. He was a decent person and a gentleman. The moment everyone got to know that we liked each other, they started pushing us to go out and date. After our first date, the word spread like fire that we were committed and would get married soon. Sometimes I felt like someone else was deciding my life for me. All I wanted was a break for all of it. As I turned 25, I decided that I can't live in this constant pressure of pleasing everyone. I saw an advertisement for scholarships given out to those going abroad to study. I heard a voice inside me say that this might be my escape, even if it was for just a couple of years. I did not want to miss this chance of living my life on my terms. I convinced my boyfriend that I wanted to study abroad so that I would be able to get a better job, which in turn would help us upgrade our current standard of living. My boyfriend helped me a lot and motivated me to work hard to obtain a scholarship. He even assisted me with the process of applying for colleges, along with financial aid for my studies. It was a new country and a city full of strangers. I was both shocked and overwhelmed at the culture and the fast-paced life here compared to my small town. People here lived a completely different life from my slow, soulful living that I was used to. Very soon, by that I mean a few months later, I had even become a part of this city. I was used to this hustle life now, which had become second nature to me. I would keep bragging about simple things that I had achieved here, which were seen as a big deal back home. Soon I realized that my boyfriend, who I had been with for almost a decade, was getting unrelatable to me. I started having this realization that our values and thinking were not in alignment anymore. We would often have arguments about little things that hardly mattered to us when we were together. He kept telling me that I had changed and that living in a big city was getting to my head. He was right about that, as I could not constantly get the feeling out of my head, which kept saying that I should find someone who understood me. I was working a new job and met this charming chef who was not only damn good at his job, but also looked hot like his dishes. I am sorry that I am digressing here, but I am trying to paint a picture of him for you guys so that you kind of get why I was attracted to him the moment I laid my eyes on him. Of course, he was aware that all the girls were swooning over him, and I feel that sometimes he would do a few things to make him look much hotter than he already was. For example, he would splash water on his face and hair to get a beachy look and see how every girl in the room went weak in her knees. I now believe that he enjoyed doing that to see the effect he had on girls. He enjoyed every bit of the attention he was getting. He would find a new girl to spend the weekend with. He was like an undesirable fruit which I wanted to taste. I had always been a good girl, and now that I was all alone in a completely new place where no one knew me, it felt thrilling to do a few bad things. I made sure that I gave the chef clear signs that I was ready to get down and dirty with him. We went out for drinks and were playing pool. I played decently, but acted as if I was completely lost so that he could help me. When he came to help me with a shot, I made sure that I stood so close to him so that he could smell me. As he was leaving, I grabbed his hand and handed him my panties so that I could make my mark for him to choose me for his weekend thrill. When it was time to leave, the chef blinked, looking at me with a mischievous smile. I knew that it was my cue that I was the chosen one for a wild weekend. I waited for the chef in the parking lot, excited about what we would be doing. The fact that I did not have sex in all these months made me a bit nervous about if I would be able to impress the chef. It was not like we would start going out after this, but I don't know why I just wanted to leave a good impression on him. He finally came and smelled so seductive that we started making out even before getting into the car. Guess he could not resist my moves, and very soon his hands were on my ass, more like making sure if I gave him the panties that I was wearing. I could tell that he was impressed by my bold move. To be very frank, even I was impressed, and even surprised that I did something so out of character. I guess living in a city where not everyone knows you and keeps judging you for your actions was liberating, and I was discovering new things about myself. We started making out in the parking lot as we could not hold back anymore. I really don't care where we were, since there was no one who knew me, so who cared who was watching? I knew at the back of my mind that I was cheating on my boyfriend, but hey, if I don't tell him, then how he is going to know about it? I was sure that I was keeping it a secret for sure. I even made myself believe that the amount of stress I was dealing with having to juggle studies, bills, job and housework gave me a free pass to have some fun and let go of some of the stress. I justified my actions in my head and pushed any kind of guilt away, as it was now time for me to forget everything and enjoy myself. We then made out in the car, which was much more enjoyable than in the parking lot. We then moved to a hotel room, which looked much more luxurious than I had expected. I did not think he would spend money on a suite just to have sex. The things we did the whole night made me understand why he booked the suite. He tried to utilize every corner and every part of furniture that was there in the room to make sure that we had the time of our lives. I was impressed by his skills of using everything as a sex object. It was surprising that the chef enjoyed having sex with me so much that he often offered to get away from the noise for a quickie and a whole weekend sex session, as he could not get enough of me and my sex hunger for him. I tried to play it as cool as I could about it in front of him, but inside my head I was screaming. We were so engrossed sexually with each other that sometimes we would have sex while he was cooking food when no one was around. It was something that we absolutely enjoyed doing. I did not mind being branded as the chef's slut, as I took it more like a compliment and not a dig at me. I felt conflicted at times, especially when my boyfriend would send me money to make sure that I was not financially struggling. Whereas here I was, studying with a little less focus, as I was more engaged in having sex with my chef and spending money on fancy clothes and drinks. At some point, I even had thoughts of coming clean to my boyfriend, but I knew that this meant that no financial help from his end was very much needed to maintain my current lifestyle. I logically dismissed any guilt and anxiety that I had in favor of speaking to my boyfriend about it. Also, why do I need to ruin something which is temporary and would end once I would be back home after getting my degree? I prepared myself to just enjoy the current times, go back to my boyfriend and get married to him. The amount of money he kept sending me gave me a rough idea that he was earning a decent amount of money, which made me realize that I could continue to live a comfortable life. I decided to keep this all till I moved back home. My dream run of enjoying my life and continuing to have sex with my chef came to an end once I realized that I had just a month left for my graduation, after which I would have to go back home. I knew that I needed to get my act together so that I did not look like a completely changed person once I was home. I slowly started clearing out stuff from my phone and other places that could make me get caught red-handed by anyone who had been thinking that all I had been doing here was studying and making ends meet. I was finally home after 2 years and was welcomed like a celebrity. My family, friends, and my boyfriend threw me a welcome back party after a week to congratulate me on my graduation. I was catching up with friends and family as I practically grew up knowing everyone in this town. I was expecting my boyfriend to spend more time with me. Instead, he said that he was busy with the preparations. Everyone kept hinting to me that he might be proposing to me during the party in front of everyone. He wanted to make sure that everything would be perfect and that I would have the best proposal ever. It felt weird to act all excited and shy about it while I had hardly been thinking about him when I was away. I completely forgot about my promise ring and that we were supposed to get married once I was back home. I wasn't going to lie to myself that I was a changed person. I did not think the same way that I did, and right now I was feeling like I was back in the pond when I belonged in the ocean. I know that thinking this way is very selfish of me, but I could not stop myself from thinking that it would be difficult for me to survive as a small town girl after living in a big city. I felt very conflicted because I was starting to hate the same people, and the same way of thinking that actually helped me get to where I was today. On the other hand, I also know that you get only one life to live, and you cannot live with regrets. So I decided that I would see how things are going and then act according to it. When it comes to survival, I feel like you've got to be selfish if you want to make a decent life for yourself. I know most of you would not like what I'm saying right now, because my values don't align with yours, and I might look completely selfish, but I'm just saying out loud what everybody says in their heads. I calculated my pros and cons and concluded that getting married to my boyfriend was not a loss at all, since he was earning great money and was well respected in town. I would be getting all the attention that I wanted without even struggling with having to work my ass off and hustle all the time. I justified that aggressiveness to be treated like a queen, since I have been working so hard all this time in a big city all alone by myself. I just told myself to forget about everything that happened in the city and focus on new life with new beginnings. It was finally time for my grand welcome party. The entire town was going to be there. Everybody tried to give me hints that it was going to be a big day for me. They kept suggesting to me the kind of clothes I should wear and the kind of jewelry I should put on. I'm sure they wanted the best for me, but it was getting way too much because I wouldn't want that person anymore who liked intrusions. I guess I knew that I had to live with this for my entire life now, so I just decided to play along. I might as well just get used to it and enjoy every bit of it, because this is how my life is going to be from now on. I took a deep breath and got ready for my apparent proposal that I was going to receive tonight. I even practiced a few expressions of surprise just to make sure that everything turns out perfectly. I arrived a bit late since I was the star of the night. The party was going to be incomplete without me, so why not be a bit late so that everybody sees well together I have been. All my friends and family were excited to see me and were cheering me on for my achievements. My boyfriend showed up on the stage and was hosting the event, which was a bit of a surprise for me, because to be in the limelight, I guess a few years can truly change a person. He started praising me and letting everyone know how I had been as a person since childhood. I guess this was so big moment of the day where he practiced his speech to propose to me all the memories that we had gathered all this while growing up. After talking about how I was so go abroad and study, he then called me on stage, propose. I quickly checked if my makeup was in place and walked up to the stage. It was a little nostalgic remembering all the things that we had done together since we were kids. He then talked about how hard it had been for him to live away from me these past 2 years while I was studying abroad. He also added that he was sure that it had been difficult for me as well, staying away from friends and family with no one to support me. I simply smiled because that was the only thing I could do. Just talking about it would be boring, so we have selected a souvenir that he was going to share with everyone to let everyone be a part of our journey. Knew that he wasn't attacking it, so I think this was what was keeping him busy meeting me since I was back. I was hoping the video should be something sweet and nostalgic, not something embarrassing. The video finally started with goodbye before leaving, showing what my boyfriend had been doing while I was away working hard, making a living, building our house. Then the video shifted to a very dark scene where it was hardly visible. I could hardly make out what it was when I realized that the clip was from the day I was making out with the chef in the parking lot. I went blank as I knew what it was all about. I looked at him with pleading eyes to stop the video right now. He looked at me with a disgusted look and stopped the video before explaining to the people who did not get it that the girl in the video was me. He then continued to play the video where you could clearly see that I was making out with the chef and getting naked in the parking lot itself. I quickly glanced at the audience and saw my parents hide their faces with embarrassment. I could feel the level of disappointment in their eyes. Just a minute ago, they were so proud of their daughter, and in an instant, that changed to regret. I tried to leave the stage, but my boyfriend grabbed my hand so tight and told me that the party had just started. He then asked his friend to come up and describe how I lived while I was abroad. I saw his friend and was shocked to see that he was one of the employees I was working with. He disclosed how I would spend money on branded stuff to impress the chef and throw myself on him. I went out with him a lot to gain his favors, and in return, I would have sex with him. I knew that there was no way of getting out of this situation. I could not even deny these things to be false, as he was willing to provide more evidence that he had gathered all this while. My partner made me so dirty in front of my entire family and the town during my graduation party that the focus shifted from me going through all lengths to finally get a degree, to how I was busy screwing over someone else. He said that initially he did not believe anything that his friend had told him, but as he kept sending him proof, he could not believe that the sweet and innocent girl that he grew up with would turn into such an opportunistic bitch. He was repulsed by the fact that even after coming back, not once did I try to come clean to him about what I did to survive and would not repeat them again. He hated that I didn't even have an ounce of guilt and acted all high and mighty after coming back as if I did nothing wrong. After the destructive party, I was walking home alone, feeling ashamed at the glances I was getting from everyone. I could hear people whispering about me as I walked past them. I went home, but my mom just put my bags on the curb and asked me to disappear. She said that from this point onwards, my family was disowning me for what I did. Maybe I did not have shame or guilt, but they were very much shameful by my actions. They did not want anything to do with such a person like me. I was heartbroken and shattered by Mom's harsh words. I was expecting at least my family to stand by my side in such difficult times, but unfortunately, they were too embarrassed to call me their own. I walked all night thinking about what I did so wrong that my family had to disown me. I was filled with anger for my boyfriend, who could have confronted me instead of creating all this drama. This would help me diffuse the situation at home, but now it felt like it was going to be a big challenge to get around and build that trust with my family and friends again. No one in the town wanted to help me in this situation. As I had no choice, I left town since I knew that living in the same town would haunt me with all the whispers and judgments that followed. I was not ready to live in such a tense environment and decided to take a break. It had been 3 weeks since the party that ruined every relationship of my life which was dear to me. I now live in a different city where no one knows me. I feel lonely and cry at nights, missing a personal, heartfelt interaction with anyone. I tried reaching out to my family and friends, but they want nothing to do with me. I felt like all these years of creating bonds with my friends and family failed me big time. What was the point of having such strong connections with people, only to find them shattered after one mistake that you did? It was not like I cheated on my boyfriend after we got married for my family to have abandoned me like this. I felt like all those heartfelt talks where my family and friends said that they would stand by me no matter what felt like such big lies. I am seriously bored of my life right now. Writing this might help me with a better perspective of how to help me get past this lonely phase of my life. I now regret my decisions of having an easy life abroad, which led to missing the only person who truly loved me for who I was, and on top of that, my family and friends have distanced themselves from me. I feel like a big failure who not only failed after getting a degree from abroad to get a better job, but also failed in life relationships. I just wish I could turn back time and go to that time when I decided to have an easy life just like everyone else. Maybe if I just stuck to my roots and respected the relationship I was in, my life would not have turned into such a disaster. I am asking help from all of you guys reading this to let me know where exactly I went wrong. I would also like you to give me suggestions on what I can do to rekindle with my friends and family. How can I try to make things better between us, and maybe also build a healthy relationship with my boyfriend, who now refuses to even hear my voice? I am willing to do everything that I can to make sure that my personal life gets back on track. I would appreciate it if you guys would be kind to me and give me suggestions to help me get out of this rut that I am in. Thank you all so much for your time. I really appreciate that you took out the time to read my story and provide me with inputs.